Hi guys, and welcome back to the last video that we're gonna do ending off 2023, going into 2024. Please excuse the beach here and the toys in the background, but I thought we'd do a nice quick video just to wrap up essentially what we've kicked off again this year on the regular video side. The previous videos we spoke about essentially the Top Gear list and what we thought of it in terms of the best cars that came out in 2023 or the car of the year in different categories like the innovator car of the year, the overall car of the year, SUV of the year, etc., etc. So go check out that video if you want to see it. I thought it would be very good to wrap up then following that on what we're looking forward to most in 2024. Now, this has been a bit of a challenge to find because I've looked at a couple of people's lists. So I've got autocar.co.uk, I've got carandriver.com on what they are basically saying their cars to look out for in 2024. Um, the problem with that is a lot of those cars are already out this year, so I wouldn't necessarily classify them as something to look forward to. As for example, the Lambo Revuelto, yes, we'll maybe see an iteration of that coming down the line, but the actual car's kind of been revealed, right? So for me, this is around cars that haven't been revealed as yet and that you're basically building up and looking forward to for next year. And then the auto car basically has a list of all SUVs, which again, some may be interesting. So there's a Romeo EV. Most of them are just all, you know, different EV SUVs or Fiat 600 electric versions and Lotus Emea and stuff like that. So I'm not going to go through their list. What I will do is give a shout out to Mutters. He's given me a list that I think is quite interesting, and I'm going to use it as the basis for discussion today. So, first one on the list, which I agree with and I'm really looking forward to, is the new BMW M5. Set to come out in 2024. It's going to be a plug-in hybrid. Historically, BMW M5s, with the exception of very early generations, in more recent time, V8 platform. If we look at the last sort of model of the M5, where you've now got the all-wheel drive system as compared to the F10 M5s, that were the first twin turbo rear wheel drive V8s, and then before that you had the V10s, but sort of the modern era V8s. The F10 was the first rear wheel drive twin turbo car. Then you've got what I would classify as the old or the current generation M5, which now uses the first sort of all-wheel drive system that we've seen coming into a lot of the other BMW models, right? The M3, the M4 have that switchable all-wheel drive system. So I'm very excited for this plug-in hybrid expected, which is going to push out huge amounts of horsepower, about 750 horsepower, 1000 Newton meters of torque. One of the big things is that they're planning to bring a touring version out, which I think is gonna appeal to a lot of people. Like the M3 did when it was announced in a touring format. There was a lot of hype around it, a lot of excitement. People are switching, I think, from RS4 over to the M3 because it offers more driving dynamic. And it's kind of all in one package, right? So I really like the M3 as a touring. I think the M5 in the touring is also going to be good competition for the RS6, right? The Audi RS6 has been the dominant force and always been the car to be reckoned with in that sort of sphere of vehicle. There was nothing that really compared with it, right? Huge motor, very aggressive, could fit everything and would haul you down the road, right? And I'm a big fan of the Audi RS6, all generations essentially. So I think it's good that BMW are now taking the M5 because the M5 always had the performance to compete. It was just never in that sort of touring station wagon format. So I think bringing it into a station wagon format is going to give it opportunity to compete with the Audi RS6. And I think it's going to be very good, healthy competition for the two competitors. So I'm looking forward to that. As we know with BMW, their performance is also very underrated. So I think they undercall a lot of their power and the performance numbers in terms of 0 to 60 and that sort of thing. So we're going to see, I think this car's probably going to be quicker than what it's coming out to be on a piece of paper. So I'm very excited for that. I've always been a fan of the M5s. I think it's, luxury, sort of touring, comfortable car, but you've got all the power in the world. It's kind of the best and all in one, right? Just that big step up, big brother of the M3. So big fan of the M5, right? The next one Mutis had on his list was the Ferrari Roma Spider. I'll drop a picture of it here. Now this one's a bit of a controversial one for me. I have a controversial opinion that I'll say I'm not the biggest Ferrari Roma fan. If I had to pick a touring, I would call it non-hardcore Ferrari, right? As opposed to, let's say, the 296 or something like that. SF90, I'd probably go for Portofino M. I think for me that gives the real sort of lifestyle Ferrari, right? You put the roof down, you can cruise. I think it looks fantastic. Interior is really good. The California replacement. I think for me the Portofino M is the car I would go for over a Roma. Wasn't really a fan of the hard top or the coupe version of the Roma. However, I will say that I think the Spider version of the Roma looks a lot better than the coupe. I think it suits the car more. For me, it's very reminiscent of, sort of Mercedes convertibles, and I don't mean that in any disrespect, right? If you look at the old, so I previously had videos of, the SL450 that I showed that I had, where you've got really this long extending bonnet, and you kind of have that across all the Merc ranges, right? Even the SLS is like this really long bonnet, front end that you're driving. And a lot of the Mercedes sort of convertibles are like that. And I think, with the Roma now, with the convertible, it kind of gives that same sort of dimensions for me, which I think makes the car really look a lot better, a lot more modern, and a lot more stylish. So I'm a big fan of it in terms of it moving to a convertible format. But overall, as a car, I am not 100% sold. The Ferrari Roma wouldn't necessarily be my car on my bucket list. Like I've mentioned before, I would probably have an Aston Martin DB12 as one of my dream cars over that. So looking forward to that being coming out next year, but again, I'm not really super excited about it. A couple of cars that Mutis did include, which I don't think is in scope for 2024, which was the Tesla Roadster, which is supposed to be this crazy, 200 kilowatt, 620 mile battery that does 0 to 100 in like 1 point something seconds, or is like $200,000. I don't think we're going to see that until 2026. The reason for that is, the Cybertruck was this big project that we saw initial debut on, and then it went quiet, and all of a sudden now they're ramping up production. So I think Tesla are probably going to focus on iterations of the Cybertruck after this, different either modifications or upgrade packages or different varieties of it. So I think that's going to be the next focus for Tesla before they start bringing out the new sort of second generation Tesla Roadster. But I am excited to see what the Tesla Roadster has to offer. Then Mutis has a couple of SUVs. Again, I'm not the biggest fan of, but I guess the one that I would shout out is the Audi RS Q6 e-tron. So I guess the performance version of the Q6 platform, EV. I'm not really a very big sort of SUV person. I love SUVs in terms of, family vehicles, but sort of these big, powerful EV formats don't really do it for me. I prefer something like the full base Range Rover, something that I really like, or I would go for, a Lambo Urus. Not too sure on the Ferrari yet, but I kind of like cars like that, or for example the X3M, or even the M40i versions, right? That's sort of what I'm interested in. So more usable, livable SUVs, I would say, as opposed to big sort of EVs that I'm not 100% sold on yet from an infrastructure perspective. So Yeah, that's basically coming out. And then he's also got a Vision concept, which I guess is probably not going to come out either in 2024, which is the Mercedes Vision EQXX. And while it looks fantastic, I don't think that's going to come out anytime in 2024. I've got a big issue with Mercedes as a whole in terms of where they are and what they're doing as a manufacturer. We previously spoke about this, with the C63 platform and what that car represented with the rear wheel drive big V8 format and why people bought that car as opposed to what it's offering now. And we said, yes, it's a lot of power, but I don't really think it's doing it for people. And people that wanted that smaller engine, excuse me, I basically said, why wouldn't you go for the A45S? It's all the power you need in a big, in a small format. It's like a little hyper hot rocket. C63S, especially with this new 4-pot, doesn't really do it for me. If anything, and you want driving dynamics, you're gonna go buy the BMW. So yeah, Merc as a whole and just their current offering, not very a big fan of it, with the exception of a couple of vehicles. Surprisingly, I do like the GLC, but as a whole, not a big fan of the current sort of styling of Mercedes. So I'd skip that out of the list. And then I guess the Lotus Emea, which I'm not actually 100% sure if it's out yet, that I guess is supposed to compete with the Porsche Taycan, also circa 900 horsepower. There's also speak of one car, which I'm not actually again sure if it's out as yet, is the Maserati replacement, which I think is called the Folgaro. I don't actually know how to pronounce it. Maserati Gran Turismo. That's supposed to be replacing it again. I think that's also supposed to be an EV or an electric vehicle. Not sure if that's out or that's still coming. I'm a very, very big fan of the Maserati Gran Turismo. I know it's been long in tooth and it's been multiple production years, and now we've got the replacement, but that original Maserati Gran Turismo V8 Ferrari derived engine, absolutely love it. So a couple of more SUVs that are planning to become out. Again, nothing really exciting for me. You've got some Mini Coopers in here. You've got some station wagons, a lot of Chinese cars. Nothing that's really exciting from my end. So I think the big reveals have been done from a Lamborghini perspective. We've got the Ferrari SUV, the big one that was revealed. What I do suspect may happen, which is something that I'm looking forward to as well, is the new Lambo Huracan replacement, the V10 replacement. So we've got the Urus that's kind of cemented itself in the lineup right now. You've got the Performante, you've got the Revuelto, which has replaced the Aventador. I think the next one is going to be the Huracan. I think they've been making all these special versions because they're trying to get rid of either bodies or engines or chassis that they have left. I think that announcement, or at least a teaser of it, is planning to come soon. So that I'm looking forward to. And then, basically the M5, I think, is the big one for me that's going to spice up that bigger version of the station wagon competition. So looking forward to that. We've got the new M2 already that's come out. When the C63, I think, becomes more readily accessible, I'm interested to see a lot of more content around drag races and, driving dynamics between that, the Audi and the M3. So be looking forward to that as well. And I'm not actually sure when the new sort of small, I think the new X3s will probably also be coming out quite soon, and then all the cars that follow them after that with those engines. So that's basically it. Quick update on 2 or 3 cars that I'm looking forward to in 2024, and then obviously content on the ones that have come out or that have been announced and that will start getting delivery as we go along. For example, the Jesko and the Jumeirah and things like that. So let's stay tuned. Let's see how that goes. And that's it from my side. Hope you guys have a good festive season and good end of 2023, and we'll catch you in the new year. Cheers.